So if we talk about active learning, we should also understand passive learning. Now, passive learning refers to a traditional instructional model where students receive information from an instructor without actively participating in the learning process. So in this approach, the teacher is the primary source of knowledge, and the students are expected to absorb this knowledge by listening to lectures, reading textbooks, or watching demonstrations, often without engaging in significant interaction, discussion, or critical thinking activities related to the content that is being taught, to the content that they're hearing about. Now, the key characteristics of passive learning that we can see in universities include the lecture-based teaching, where the professor speaks and students listen and take notes with minimal interaction. Limited student engagement. The students are not actively involved in creating, in questioning, or in applying the knowledge they receive. A focus on memorization. Learning often relies on rote memorization of facts and figures rather than deeper understanding and applying what they're learning in terms of real-world contexts, often learning for texts. Teacher-centered environments where the classroom is where the teacher is at the center of the whole learning process. The students are sitting there, sometimes just slumped like bags of potatoes, taking in the information and so on. And another characteristic is minimal feedback, that there's very little immediate feedback to the students on gathering how their understanding is going and so forth. Now look, passive learning can be effective for absorbing large amounts of information quickly. It's generally considered less effective than active learning in terms of actually deeper understanding and deeper learning of the key issues at hand. When people talk about active learning, and it started about 10 years ago to be often used, people assume that it would replace something called passive learning, but actually in education, whether we're in school or in university, the two have a role to play. And the active learning may be used for certain purposes, and the passive learning techniques may be used for other purposes. The key issue is to use both.